Attention, passengers. This is your co-pilot speaking. Your pilot is black-minded, so you are not going blind and there is no power failure. You are merely experiencing the immense blackness of his proximity, and when you hear his voice, you and the cabin will get even darker than you are currently. We will be cruising at the speed equal to light because the one other thing that travels equally fast is darkness. Your loved ones awaiting your arrival may not recognize you at first sight. This is normal. Simply tell them about the pilot and they will understand. We will taxi to the runway now, so please buckle up and prepare for a high-speed departure. Thank you for choosing Jet Black Airways, where the phrase Jet Black is also a verb. We hope you keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Justice forever.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh to some of y'all, and peace out to the rest of you. Hit the share button because the message is more important than the messenger. I was sent this, but I didn't know about it. I had wound up finding this in my feed before I found out that it was actually sent to me. Shouts out to Senhor Canga, who was about to send it to me. I'll let you hear it.
You ever wonder why people like DJ Kid or DJ Pope exist? It's because black women worship white men. You have to ask yourself, why are black women so gross? You ever wonder what the real meaning of the backbone of the black community was?
You know what's funny about that? I don't walk around calling black women gross. Somebody else did. But when he continues on, we're not going to have a leg to stand on to argue about it.
Also ask yourself, why do black women share white men if white men are in abundance?
This is Alexander. He fell in love with 6 women.
I don't really have a cap on girlfriends. Any more than 10 is challenging.
Alexander has been told he is a player.
I think a lot of people think that I'm just like some kind of like boy. It gets harder with more than 4 people. It gets more challenging.
Today, he is introducing a new person to his roster.
Well, if you join, you'll be Thursday.
Now, you see, keep this in mind. He said that he doesn't have a cap, but when it's more than 4 people, it gets difficult. Now, I have stated that generally speaking, men don't really want to go and commit themselves to a bunch of different women. For many men, let's say if a man even believes in chastity, for most Muslim men, if they do marry more than one, it's 2. For many Muslim men, it's 2. Very few Muslim men are married to 3, and even fewer are married to 4. 4 is the cap for us in terms of marriage. But stop and think about that. Just 2. This man said 3, 4 people, him and 3 women. But this is where it gets more interesting.
Well, first of all, I just met you, so I am not part of the group of girlfriends.
My name is Alex. I have 6 girlfriends, but I am always looking for more. I live in Los Angeles, California. I actually grew up in quite a small town in the north of England, but I've been out here for about 4 or 5 years now. So I'm a producer. A lot of my time is spent making beats to send out to artists. So I'm just working on it now before the girls come over shortly. I currently have sort of 6 girls that I would consider as like girlfriends. So I have Nia, Avery, V out in Florida, Bayani, and then there's Izzy. And there's like a couple more girls who I'm pretty close to, but you know, they're like a lot more private.
Okay. 6, kind of like his girlfriends. 6 of them are kind of like his girlfriends. I want you to realize what's going on here. Now that right there should be enough for me to just stop the recording, but let's continue on.
I don't usually hang out with more than 3 girls at once. It gets harder with more than 4 people. It gets more challenging.
We just recently met not too long ago. Alex was getting a tattoo that day, and we kind of left him. Yeah, we were like, bye, and then we went and hung out together. We went shopping.
Do you guys want to pick a jacket for me?
Yeah.
It wasn't really like a conscious decision for me to all
So one of them is a porn star.
suddenly become polyamorous. I just kind of found that like traditional monogamy didn't really work with me and sort of like the way that I function as a human being.
That one's cute. I like that one. Come.
having to reserve all of my love and affection for just one individual, it doesn't fit right with me. It doesn't feel right. Like
I was attracted to him physically first, but like as I got to know him, I got it.
Now, she said she was not attracted to him physically first, but as she got to know him. So what that means is that she can recategorize a Wyatt. We already know as brothers, once you ain't their type, when they look at you, you don't become their type, short of hitting the lottery. We understand that. She didn't. He's just out there and he's weird and he's himself. And you know what? I wouldn't even ask him to be monogamous. It wouldn't make sense. She's not an ugly woman saying this. Not my type with the pigtails, but she's not an ugly woman saying this. She's cute. I want you to stop and think about this. It is okay for them to have their preferences, but we understand, and I will be one of those that says it's not okay when their preference is specifically the colonizer. It's not just black women I tell this to. I actually tell this to many people around the world. I'm like, well, you don't have to prefer your own per se, but if the one you prefer has been your worst enemy, screw you. That's self-hatred. I do say that. I'm like Omar Johnson in that regard, except that when brothers get out there and get them a Becky, which is rare anyway, I look and I say, well, you know what? That's the one that deserves an excuse because sisters probably drove him away because that's what they do. And Becky, if he wasn't in a big city with a whole bunch of options, Becky was probably the only other one out there. And you know, Becky's in these small towns be chasing after some onyxes. We know that. Becky's them country Becky's dig bruhs. They will at least they come chasing after us. Now, are they trouble? Yes, but they will come chasing after us. But when you start dealing with bigger cities, then you have women of other ethnicities. And when brothers have options, that's generally what they go for. Brothers be checking for some kind of melanin. Phil Scott didn't marry this very, very pale-skinned Latina until he had been married to a sister that cheated. That's just not what it is. So we're seeing what's going on. You think these broads out there cheating? Well, you know what? At the end of this, he says that it doesn't really matter what they do. Everyone's free to somewhat choose. So he leaves it like it's an open free-for-all. But I'm going to tell you this. I already know that's not the reason why they're willing to share him. It's not about that. It's not about the fact that he lets them have their side dudes. That's not it. See, if it was a brother that said that, they'd lose respect and leave him. Or they'd lose respect and use him. And there wouldn't be anybody sitting up there on a camera, looking at a camera, talking to someone holding a camera, saying, yeah, well, you know, we can share him and he's out there, he's himself and it's fine. They wouldn't do that. But none of us, these same women would not. How do we know? You can tell what no black woman would do because you'll see no black woman do it. You can tell what no white woman will do because you'll see no white woman do it. And the exceptions, which do exist, they have to, but the exceptions are the ones with no options. But you can tell that no white woman with options or no black woman with options will sit up there and do certain things because you've never seen any of them do it. That's how you can tell. What options? Okay, guess what? You just sat up here and saw some sisters with some options look at a camera and say that they're fine with sharing this Wyatt from the UK, of all places. He wants to be a successful producer. Right now, he's a producer. Let me remind you all about something. Remember the actor that played the butler on Fresh Prince of Bel-Air? He's from the UK. People did not believe that at first. They thought his accent was fake. I, back in 2000, trained a class. I remember when I began it, and there was this sister from New Jersey that thought that light-skinned guys that looked like me were just, were just not to be trusted. That's what she felt. She also thought that if you were a dark-skinned brother and you spent time in the gym, automatically you were going to be a real man, as she imagined a real man was going to be. So she got pregnant, and she said that it was by him, and it might have been, I don't know. I mean, by this brother that fit that mold. He was actually my trainer on this job. But he said, well, we'll get the DNA test done and we'll move from there based on the results. And she was pissed. Baby might have been his, might not have been. I don't know. What I do know is that she was pissed off because he didn't just take her word for it. He wasn't a real man no more. But before that, it was pretty much pat and dry with her stereotypes. A light-skinned brother like me is not no real man. I probably think that I'm a player, or I am one, or something. And she realized that wasn't true, but she never apologized for the realization. But she met a black man at the job with a British accent. He was from London, and she straight said to him, I owe you an apology. When she finally met him by name, she said, I owe you an apology. I really thought you were faking your accent. I'm not joking. She said this. She apologized to him in front of the rest of the class. Now, what this means is, what I'm telling you is that we know how American sisters view black British men. They don't even believe it's real. I mean, there seems to be more of an awareness of it now, but they don't believe it's real most of the time. And if you are black and British, boy, you better be proper road man, meaning a straight up street dude, gangster, everything. You better be. Well, guess what? This guy here is from the North. I don't think he comes from a gang background. Stop and think about what the walk this means. These sisters with the little Valley Girl accents are doing exactly what Edward Allen Anderson has said that they would do, what AC has said they would do, and what DC told us, David Carroll told us they want to do, and we're beginning to do. I'm not telling you to be mad because they like them some Wyatts. That is treachery by their own admission. It's treachery. But I am going to tell you that what they're doing is war. What they want is for you and I, the non-stereotypical black man, the non-nigger, to accept being stepdad to either Pookie's kids or Zaddy's kids. They have no resistance. And the funny thing is, many sisters will tell you that physically they don't actually find themselves as attracted to Wyatts as brothers, physically. So what the hell is it? We know that they drop standards for men they physically want to smash, but if there's not that same type of physical attraction for these Wyatts, then why are they willing to drop even more standards for them than they would drop for the dope boy that's a brother? Well, it only means one or two things. Either they really are physically attracted to the Wyatts, and they're lying, or there's something so compelling about coming from a heritage of colonizing others. Notice, I didn't say colonizing others. Today's have not done that, but coming from the heritage of grandparents who colonized others, that it supersedes even physical attraction. So in other words, loving the oppressor over the oppressed is a temptation or a vice of the African woman. And I said African for a reason. Senhor Canga has exposed some of this in Angola. South African brothers have exposed some of this in South Africa, and actually some South African women have done. Hell, Siam Tanda Mtolo is the name of one of them. I talked about what she said years ago. Feminism spreading. We got a light-skinned Creole African-American brother from New Orleans living in a few places in West Africa, and he has noticed certain things and put us up on game. So that's why I say the African woman, I'm including the diaspora. But I'm including the continent. The parts that are not like that, and I just had somebody from Cape Verde confirm for me that it is as bad as GD told Senhor Canga and me that it was in Cape Verde. He confirmed for me that. We are facing, in a nutshell, a reproductive war in which the non-stereotypical black man is being told by a black woman, no. I take that back. It's being told by black women to accept being a genetic dead end because we don't deserve to have our own. That's what we're being told. And that we're to either raise Zaddy's kids or that we are to raise Pookie's kids, but we're not to conceive our own unless maybe they're going to be younger siblings to Pookie's kids and Zaddy's kids. That might be acceptable. But other than that, hell knucking foe. This is what we're being told in a nutshell. What's happening is this: on the continent, they will demonstrate it, and I've seen that because the white guys who recorded this were surprised. On the continent, they will demonstrate it, but they don't go up in black men's face and say, I'll do this for a Mzungu, but I would never do it for you. They don't say that to the men back home. They just show it. But in the U.S., they're saying it. Sometimes they're saying that specific sentence, and other times they're just showing it in a way that it is saying it. Because we don't have to ask. When you see that video, you'll look at these sisters and you know there's nothing about these sisters that would force them to accept sharing a black man that doesn't have a hell of a fortune. Nothing. They ain't got to be out of shape. Now, one is a dirty movie actress. I don't know which one it is because I don't know which one has that specific name that you'll see in the video. But it says it on the video. It was written in there. It was written, the name Avery Jane, I think it was. It's not Avery Jones or Avery Jane, but it was written in the video. She's a dirty movie actress. Look her up. Well, even if I tried to look her up here, which I'm not going to do, especially during Ramadan, it would be blocked. And I don't want anybody, you don't want detectives here knocking on your door about a search. You don't want that. So in any case, there is one. But if she got with an Onyx, you'd think she'd be willing to share him with 5 other women? No, they don't do that. They do not. They have limits. I mean, they're willing to share this guy more openly than they would be willing to share a Pookie. And we know they're willing to share them some Thuggo and Pookie and Ray Ray and Stereotype and, Niggerilla, Chest Thumper, Gun Toter, Mac 10, Tech 9, Lil Uzi, and his big brother, Big Uzi. They're willing to share them as long as it's not in their face. No, these chicks are sharing this dude in what looks to be a small apartment in each other's faces. They're cooperating. It's not just a preference, gentlemen. If it was, I wouldn't say anything. I mean, I would say they hate themselves. I believe they do, but I wouldn't say much more than that. I wouldn't tell you to take note of it or anything. But I do want you gentlemen to understand that this is not just their preference. This is a sign for you that the extinction of the so-called original black race is not our fault. That's what I wanted you to realize. Will there always be black folks? It depends on how you define black. If you define it as unmixed, no admixture at all, then we will be extinct. If you define it as 50% or more, we probably will not be extinct. But what I am going to get at is that we're coming upon a trend in the future that is exactly what sisters have said they fear. You know, when they talk about colorism and featureism and texturism and racism and global white supremacy, when they talk about these very real phenomena, they make it sound like they're afraid that there will be no unmixed black babies born in the future, when really what it is that you and I are learning is they're going to make this true. They are going to do this. With the exception of Pookie and Ray Ray and Thuggo and Tech 9 and Mac 10 and Niggerilla and Gun Toter and Lil Uzi and his big brother, Big Uzi. Now, those will be the exceptions. In other words, they are breeding they're willing to either breed a class that they hope will be some sort of intermediate class, or they're willing to breed not only genetically what they view as the lesser class, not you and I, but they view it. But they're also willing to breed specifically on the basis of behavior that would cement such in a lesser class. So in other words, if you're a black man that's not going to let black folks, you're not going to contribute to black folks being and staying at the bottom. They don't want you. In order for you to be a black man and get up inside that black woman and shoot the club up when she's fertile and conceive, you must either be willing to ruin your life and your future to do it so she can breed for fun and, you know, just let her make you a child support check come up, or you got to be a Pookie. You got to have behaviors that she's hoping the child will inherit that will cement black folks at the bottom. They are breeding for white supremacy. That's what I'm telling you. And since you don't allow that, since you're not on that program, if you're in my audience, that's why you got shut out. It's not because you're corny. You might be. I don't know. That won't help if you are. But what's actually going to help you? I just told you nothing's really going to help. If you are corny and then tomorrow you're not anymore, it's still not going to help that you're no longer corny, whatever they want to call that, however they want to define it. And that's another topic in and of itself. The point I'm making is that it is really because you are not conducive to our enemies putting us on the bottom and keeping us there. And that is reason enough. In other words, Boom Shika and Sapphire care more about that than Zaddy. I guess what I'm trying to say is that the guards are out here trying to breed their own inmates for later on so they have a job. Maybe that's the best way I could say it. Or they're trying to breed other guards. But they're not trying to conceive children for the men who go free. And they're just mad because you do go free. I hope I explained it well enough, and thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out, assalamu alaikum, black heteros. Oh, you know what? Before I sign out, man, shuck this fit. I forgot to tell you. Go your butts over to the Passport Bros app, BMT's app. Sign in. You cannot browse the pages without getting an account. So go in, get an account. You got a free option. You got a $5 option. You got another one. I think it's 10 or 15. And you got a $25 option a month. Go in and get the free one to start off with. See how you like it. But go. As a matter of fact, I'll put that link in my description or in the comments. Click it. Go. Set up one. If you want to subscribe to me, you can do it on Buy Me a Coffee, or you can do it on the Passport Bros app. Either one. Those will be the options that I'm going to have for subscribing so that you can get the vids that are not free. I'm being nice making this one free. You're welcome, but not all of them will be. So now that I got that out the way, thank you for listening. As always, black heart, black mind, black out. Assalamu alaikum, Ramadan Mubarak. Black heterosexual non-select male power because they don't like it. Black patriarchy until extinction of Judgment Day. And thank you for flying again with us here on Jet Black Airways, where the phrase jet black is also a verb. Keep jetting black with us until the wings and the wheels fall off. Gender justice forever.